Hi everyone, I'm Rachna. Welcome to the Good Tiffin. Today I'm going to talk about glycemic index, how it affects your blood sugar levels, different high and low GI foods, how the method of cooking them and the quantity you eat affects the GI, and how to balance the GI. Glycemic index measures how quickly a food can raise your blood sugar levels when eaten alone, that is, eaten on its own. Basically, it figures out how quickly, how fast a food breaks into sugar in your bloodstream. High GI foods raise your blood sugar faster than the low GI foods. Depending on how fast or slow a particular food raises your blood sugar, these foods are given GI ratings. 0 to 55 is low GI, 56 to 69 is moderate GI, and 70 and above is high GI. Now let's look at some of the low GI foods to start with. Leafy and non-starchy vegetables. Most fruits like your apples, oranges, kiwis, berries, peaches, pears are low GI. Even chiku, banana and mango are low GI. But because they are naturally very sweet, they are to be eaten in controlled quantity, in smaller quantities. They are high in fiber, so they are beneficial for your health. But eaten in smaller quantities, they do not harm your blood sugar levels. Then your beans, pulses, lentils, most of them are low GI. Like your kidney beans, that is rajma, chickpeas, masoor dal, mung beans, tuvar dal, etc. Dried fruits like your khajur, that is dates, apricots, raisins are also low GI, but again they are naturally very sweet, so are to be eaten in smaller quantities, like 1 or 2 dates at a time or 1 apricot at a time. Again, having them with nuts and seeds would help, because nuts and seeds like pistachio, almonds, peanuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, etc. are all low GI foods. Grains or cereals like wheat, quinoa, steel cut or rolled oats, barley, etc. are all low GI. Millets like your barnyard millets, foxtail millets, little millets, pearl millets, that is your bajra, are all low GI. Jawar or sorghum millet is moderate GI. Meat, poultry, fish do not have a GI because they do not contain any carbohydrates. Now let's look at some of the high GI foods. Some by default are not so great for your health, like candies, ice creams, sugar-laden soft drinks, refined flour, items that are made with this refined flour like white bread, cookies, cakes, naans, rumali rotis, etc. White rice, puffed rice, potatoes, breakfast cereals like cornflakes, instant oatmeal are also high GI foods. Rajgira or amaranth is also high GI food, but it is packed with vitamins and minerals and is very rich in proteins and fiber. So you can eat Rajgira with wheat in the proportion of 1/4 Rajgira and 3/4 wheat, and that way the entire combination becomes a low GI. Or if you are allergic to gluten or wheat, you can mix Rajgira with other millets or pulse flours like urad dal atta, moong dal atta, etc. You can also have Rajgira with various nuts and seeds. Another nutrient-packed food that is high in GI is ragi, that is your finger millet. It is extremely rich in calcium, rich in fibers and packed with many antioxidants. So eat this millet in combination with other millets or grains and bring the GI level down. That way this millet can actually help you stabilize your blood sugar. How you cook can also determine GI for many foods. For example, pulses, beans generally have a low GI, but pureeing, blending and cooking for a long time can increase their GI. Similarly, whole wheat, whole grain pasta has low GI. But if you cook this pasta beyond its al dente stage, then the GI increases. Al dente means it is just cooked. It has that bite. It is not gone all mushy. So you have to stop cooking the pasta then and preserve the GI. Quantity of the food also matters. Recommended quantity of pasta is half cup cooked pasta along with a whole lot of veggies. But instead of half cup, suppose you have 2 cups pasta, then the overall GI will increase because the carbohydrate content of the meal has increased. This brings us to our next concept, which is known as glycemic load. It determines the amount of carbohydrates present in one serving of food. Glycemic load is a good measure against which we can decide whether a particular food is good or not so good for our blood sugar levels. So together, glycemic index and glycemic load can help us decide our menu, our daily diet, our food preferences, etc. So next Tuesday, I am going to cover glycemic load in detail along with different foods which have high, low or moderate GL, that is glycemic load. So make sure you tune in next Tuesday as we conclude this session on GI and GL. This Friday we are coming up with a recipe using chickpeas. It's a light, summery, easy, quick recipe that is delicious. So don't forget to tune in this Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.